Hello, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/help action needed. My name is Sean, and this is the first of our ever series spotlights because I thought a while back I should interview people. I've got a lot of cool friends, and then I didn't. And then Grant said, "Hey, Sean, can you interview me?" And I said, "Of course." Look how that worked out. With me today is the lovely cast of some. We're missing some people, but they are just as honored of Rat City by Night, a new Vampire the Masquerade actual play from Game Master Monday over on their podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about episode 1, about some character creation, about some world lore, and just kind of what it was like to take a very traditional VTM heavy lore system and make it rats. So we're going to talk pretty heavily about episode 1. So if you don't want some episode 1 spoilers, leave. Don't leave. Lurk. It'll appreciate it for everyone. But show your support in whatever way you can. But let's go ahead and just meet our people. So we'll go around. Grant, please tell us who you are and your role in this project.
Hello, I'm Grant. I run Game Master Monday. I was the storyteller for Rat City by Night, which means I play every other rat not currently on screen.
Correct. Zoop.
Hi, I'm Zoop. I am a co-GM on Game Master Monday. Just gonna throw that out there, but really, I played Anand, the hottest rat.
Zoop is starting beef in the interview.
I am Jenna Daggers. I played Carmela Gianlucali Lacerva, the other hottest rat with big titty energy.
Yeah, I'm the hottest rat without big titty energy.
Yeah, you know, there's a specification, right?
Yep.
I hate this.
Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina Susanna. This was my first time on Game Master Monday, and I played Pidge, who just likes pies.
And Freddie.
Hey, I'm Freddie Powers. I play Barry Sunderson in Rat City by Night, who is the 4th hottest rat. And I say that not in that it's a ranking that he's number 4 in, but in that there are 4 hottest rats here. And he's simply the 4th that we've met amongst all of these hot rats.
He's introduced 4th.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yes. There are 2 additional rats who are not here to claim their hottest supremacy, but know that I imagine they place themselves somewhere in the rankings.
You get the player rats today. Kendo and Abby play NPC rats. You should go listen to it. It's good.
You should. Let's start. Grant, tell us a bit about the show, how it came to be, what inspired Rat City by Night.
What inspired Rat City by Night? Well, Jenna Daggers in a late night group chat is what inspired Rat City by Night. I think, truth be told, I've always kind of been like, I've always wanted to try a VTM game. If you were to talk to my sister Jenny, who also was a former GM for the show, I've been kicking the can on a Vampire the Masquerade idea for literal years, and nothing really stuck. And then Jenna offhandedly makes a joke about like, you know, we're like riffing on like places that would be funny to do a VTM game, and she offhandedly says Rat City by Night, and I'm like, say more right now. So I start side chatting and I start getting weird ideas, because if I'm going to do a system that's beloved and popular, I'm going to throw a grenade inside of it and fuck it up real bad, and that felt like a great avenue to do that. As far as like the actual making of it, very much so inspired by Rat Cinema, which includes things like The Great Mouse Detective, The Rescuers, your Stuart Little, Secret of Nim, Don Bluth movies in general is a very big influence on this. So, you know, and just noir. There's like a big noir vibe in Rat City. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where the thread I was pulling on.
Nice. And for everyone, maybe not Jenna, what was your thought/impression when Grant said, "Hey, come be vampire rats"?
It was an immediate yes for me. Immediate. I think, were we talking about it? We were talking about it at Gen Con?
I did float the idea around at Gen Con for sure, which is a big reason why Freddie's part of it.
Yeah.
I can't remember when we first started talking about it, but as soon as you told me anything about it, I said, Grant, please, Grant, please put me in.
Yes.
I want to be a rat. And then I was not a rat. But I was a rat.
That was the second thing Gina said. The first thing was yes. And then I want to say like maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, I got a message back from Gina that was like, 1, here's the text message I showed my partner about this. 2, can I play a bat?
What about everyone else? Freddie, you had started talking.
Yeah, no, I was just pulling up my Discord messages to see exactly what the interchange is. And it's what is this? The 9th month is August.
September.
September. Really?
September.
Dang, that's crazy. Every year?
You must be referring to the former Julian calendar before Augustus got in there.
Of course.
Mhm.
But it's literally in last September, Grant messaging, hey, next April, are you free for Rat City? And me saying, you better believe it. And then a picture of like a rat being held in that way that rats are always held. And it says rat alert. But yeah, it's also, Grant and I talked about it at Gen Con. By that, I meant we were at the same party at the same time, and it inevitably spiraled into just like an entire room of people pounding on tables and chanting rats, 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 rats. And I think that was my in. I think Grant was like, oh, okay, he'll rat.
This guy fucking rats, you know? I've been wanting to do something with Freddie anyway, just because I fell in love with Freddie during Air 313 and getting to hang out during Gen Con. And I mentioned that I've been kicking the Rat City idea around for a couple of months at this point. It just so happened that we were surrounded by stickers of rats at this party, and then we all started slapping them down that they were Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and it got real silly.
Nice. Zoop, what was yours?
So mine was, I assumed I was invited because I was co-GM.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, he's like, I think Grant told me about it, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool to be a part of. And he was like, well, but you are. And I was like, what?
No, I remember it very differently because like, yes, you were automatically part of it regardless, because that's kind of like a tradition here at GMM. But the message you actually sent me was, I better be part of that. And I was like, yeah, of course.
I was shooting my shot, apparently.
Yeah, well, is it shooting your shot when you're on the network?
I don't know.
And I was going to say, on Jenna, very similar. I remember reading a threat of, Grant, if I'm not in this, you won't breathe again. Jenna, what was it like when you joined the project?
I mean, so this was one of the few projects where I actually had like a very clear idea of a character, because I thought it would be very deeply funny to make a crime rat for a multitude of reasons. And she was birthed very in a similar nature from Rat City, just, you know, bad out of hell. You know, well,
Rat out of
bad
hell?
out of hell.
Yeah. Gina would be
Rat bad out of hell. Yeah, true.
Yes, nice. Speaking of crime, if you have not listened to the episode one yet, a large feature of it happens to be the families, and they all have different connections to people in the town. They have different overlapping lores, which I'm excited to hear about and discover more as it goes on, as well as relations to different saints in the Rat Cathedral. I am not a pun person. I need you all to know how audibly I went, of course. Every time Grant said Rat Cathedral, Rat Ship, anything like that, Ratcaster, every time inside part of Sean died. But I was then immediately overcome by how exciting the episode was and very much enjoying it. You also had 4 very different vignettes. They were overlapping in some ways, but you all made Rat City feel like a very real and established. Part of it is that it is based on New York, not Seattle. And so anyone that's kind of been to New York and has that mindset can picture it a bit easier. But what was it like world building as a table to either figure out who you were starting as or what your place in the world was, since they are so distinctive? We'll start with Jenna this time, because you had a thought early.
I had this idea where I wanted to make the hottest rat that I possibly could. I
I wish she was
wanted her.
kidding. That was like her main criteria.
I was like, I want to make this rat that makes people question things about themselves and makes people discover things about like the deepest depths within themselves. I want this rat to have big titty energy, and I want her to, and like I like tying little bits and pieces of myself into characters in one way, shape, or form. So
That
I
is an
come from
amazing
Italian
thing to say
American.
after what you just said.
Yeah, which I don't have big titty energy. I don't. Maybe I have big titty energy, but I do not have big. I'm not as endowed as Carmela would be if she was a human. But I am Italian American, so I did get to tie that into. I do not come from a crime family, but I did grow up watching The Sopranos and The Godfather and things like that. So I got to take inspiration from pieces like that and weave it into my own Italian American experiences with things like Sunday family dinner and like actual family ties that bind, and bring that into her backstory and make her into a character that you are either scared shitless of and want to root for, or like one that you find it really hard to kind of root for, because she makes a lot of questionable choices, as we see in the first episode. She gets told to do one thing and does the exact opposite thing.
Yeah. Some people in that situation would go, maybe I'll listen for the smallest of seconds. Carmela doesn't. Gina, what was your process like?
Oh, I knew that I just needed to make the saddest little bat rat that there ever was, because that's the part of me that I tie into every single character that I make, is that they're just so sad inside. And I knew that I wanted someone that was going to be very. I've been watching. A friend of mine had really gotten me into the show Pushing Daisies, and so I had Pidge be very like the Pidge's Pie in the Sky is very Pushing Daisies coded. The description of the shop is pretty much like the pie hole in Pushing Daisies. And I knew that I wanted someone who so desperately wanted to belong and fit in, even though she very much didn't, but no one around her had the heart to tell her that. And so that she was raised believing that she was one thing and desperately wanting to be that one thing, even though she knew that there was a part of her that didn't fit in. And I knew when we were chatting about character connections, I think, Jenna, you and I pretty much hit it off right away. I messaged in the group chat. I was like, I have an idea. Who wants to be part of my idea with me? And Jenna immediately volunteered. And now we have a private chat, Bat Rats with Wings.
Aw.
It was really sweet.
Nice. Freddie, what was your process?
Yeah. So right quick, I want to back up 1 second because I want to say one thing that I think is funny, is that because I was sharing all of the like rat art posts to my story as they went, and I genuinely don't know if I knew that Pushing Daisies was a heavy influence for Pidge or if that influence just came through that hard. But when I was trying to pick what song to put on the Pidge post, I went with Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants, because I had found it on the soundtrack from Pushing Daisy, specifically on episode 3, the name of which is Pigeon.
That's crazy.
I was like, oh, okay, there we go. That's a choice I don't have to make. That's a choice that the world made for me, and I'm just here for it.
That's
but
beautiful.
But for Barry, I had never played Vampire the Masquerade before. I've been wanting to for like a long time, and it was like, oh, cool, finally, great opportunity. And I feel like my thought process was essentially like, what would be a really funny idea for a character? What if I had an old man that was fully unbreakable? Like, what if I had like the frailest possible looking rat with the opposite stat line? And I think I started from that and just sort of like just put in. I just started giving Barry my interests. I was like, yeah, he plays mahjong, because then if anyone asks me about it, I can actually talk about it and it'll be good. Zoop messaged about like, hey, can Barry have a husband that Zoop's character knows? And I was like, yes, absolutely. This is great. Please link me into world building things. And really from there, it's just like any idea that anyone has is just like a sparking branch neural network of stuff that keeps going.
Very nice. And then, yeah, Zoop, you were set up there. What was your process?
So I don't remember. So I've never played VTM, and I'm usually anti-vampire. And but I am pro rat. And I started thinking about especially I like to bring in my background as well, which is very not Christian. It's pretty culturally Hindu, spiritually agnostic, first generation, all of that stuff. And so I forget exactly how it came into my head, but I decided that I wanted to honor my late grandfather, my late maternal grandfather. And so he, back, you know, whenever this was, he left India and went to, I think, um, I don't remember if he went to Purdue or if he went to it's some college in Chicago, um, to study engineering, specifically civil engineering, and then went back to India and, spent his life doing earthquake civil engineering. So making houses, structures, buildings, bridges, and the like, all, better to withstand earthquakes. So he did stuff in India, he did stuff in Japan, and the like, but he was very focused on giving back to his homeland. And so I wanted to play a rat, understanding that eventually this rat is going to become a monster, but uh I wanted this rat to have like his best qualities of like, compassion, just whip smart, um like so driven, driven to do good for others, driven to see the good in others. um and I decided, why not make him a good looking rat to boot. um you know but he was a truly great man, and I wanted to play this truly great rat and find out, what would happen to this great rat man when put in a situation where you can't be as holy as you want to be.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's why he's a civil engineer. And eventually he had planned on going back to Ratsfield, taking what he'd learned from Rat City University to make Ratsfield a better, safer place for rats. um I don't know if that'll happen for him.
Yeah,
Who's say?
who can say?
Who's to
Uh,
say?
So then, Grant, your task of taking these four incredibly different characters and putting them in luckily a diverse and open world, what was it like then, like building it out with all five of you? Like this is an everyone question, but Grant, since it was your job, what was it like actually building out Rat City and all that?
Yeah. I like doing mini series where we really get to meet the characters in their day-to-day, and then the thing happens to them. And in Rat City, we do it a little bit differently, because the idea I knew I wanted to come in with was the idea of vampirism has never made it to rats up until this point. They weren't wandering around with like mythos about this sort of thing. So the driving philosophy behind everything is what happens to a society when they're introduced to something that they have no understanding of, and how do they treat the people afflicted by it, all that kind of stuff. So I knew that I'd have to organize the rats in a way that the domino effect became clear and obvious, which is why, you literally, episode 1 spoiler, every rat is alive when we meet them, and then by the time we are done meeting them, they are dead. Whoa. So that kind of is like, you put the characters in front of you and what you know about them, and you try organizing, okay, I know what happened, so how does it happen to them? So it would only make sense for whichever of them is the most notable in the city. Crime princess over here with Jenna, is like something would probably have to happen that starts spurring some sort of internal chaos, and then everything goes by the wayside. A student at the university is caught in the crossfire of the instigated mob violence as a result of Carmela's disappearance. Because Carmela gets vamped and doesn't listen to the rules, she immediately breaks them, and that's what happens to Pidge. And poor Barry just has so many interconnecting storylines through everyone's, with familiarity with the pie shop and on and everything, and he's just ready to go. And I believe the exact message we sent Freddie was, hey, would you be okay going last and also having a quiet, reverent death at the Rat Cathedral? Freddie sent back the most poetic yes I've ever seen, ever. And
check on the captions real quick.
Sure.
Can I just get everyone to talk? Just a line.
I'm saying a line. Mine's good.
Yours is
Hello, I'm
Also
saying a line.
I'm also saying a line.
okay.
I'm saying a different line from everyone else.
Oh, maybe it's just Grant.
Well, Grant showed up for mine. Freddy's have not shown up for mine.
Oh no.
Oh, weird.
Beep bop.
But I saw what you saw, Gina, with it like pausing and not showing Grant.
Yeah.
Grant, be more addictive.
I will be
Say more things, Grant.
enunciative and clear in my speaking.
Grant's be more addictive.
Be more addictive.
I didn't say the A, Zencaster. But yeah, that's good to know, because above conversation, I don't know, above table, but I'm not at the table and this isn't a game. I asked Grant how the first episode was recorded, because in my head it was so well done as vignettes. I didn't think any of you were there together. And he was like, no, like we all were together the entire time, seeing it, like seeing what was happening, everything like that, except for our two guest characters. So what was that like? How much of the story of each other's rat did you guys know going in? I know we had the connections, but how much of that was like built out versus more played off of? What was it like as humans learning who your rat was in that first 2.5 hours?
So personally, I didn't know anything about, or I didn't know much about Zoop's or Freddy's rats. I knew a decent amount about Gina's, but we had a lot of discussions going into it, especially because we had a lot of safety checks going into episode 1, because we knew exactly what was going to happen. We were like, okay, so obviously Pidge and Carm are best friends. They met exactly here, and this has been their entire journey so far.
Mhm.
And then we were like, okay, so how do we make it awful?
How do we make it
And
hurt
then we
more?
made it awful.
Yeah.
And then we made it awful, and it was a lot of fun. And so that's all I really knew personally. But so like I knew a decent amount about Gina's. I knew a decent amount about Pidge, and I also knew a lot about Carm because I created her. But I didn't really know a lot about Anand or Barry.
I agree with that. I think you were pretty split down the middle, because Anand's more tied to Barry and you're more tied to Pidge. So I think that was the pretty clear divide. I will say it feels like every single person, the minute they learn Pidge runs a pie shop, wanted a connection to the pie shop. They were like, I need to get in
It
on
was
that
very
action.
popular. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's so funny. Oh, I don't
Go
know. Go
ahead.
ahead. I was just gonna say it's so funny for me because the other thing I should have said in the beginning is that I used to run a bakery for a long time before I do the work that I do now, and so I have like 12 years of experience running a very busy bakery, and so I was like, I know exactly what what Pitch is gonna do, and uh, everyone loves the person that runs the bakery. That's always a popular spot.
yeah, for me, it was I knew that Pidge and Carmela already had like a relationship, and I was like, okay, let's, find a way to tie in Barry and Anand. And one of the things that Freddie said is that Barry runs a mahjong club. So I was like, okay, I could definitely see Anand, being the cerebral type of guy he is, joining a mahjong club. But the question was then, okay, but how did he find the mahjong club? And from that, the idea came, oh, maybe it was through his mentor, whoever his advisor is in his he's getting a PhD in civil engineering. And then it was like, okay, so maybe through him, but how does he know about the mahjong club? uh Barry want a husband. And then I picked his name, Nikolai Laptus, from um two Russian civil engineers.
Mhm.
And that was there's like a weird reason for it. I don't know why I decided that he's got to have like a Russian name, but I think it's because my mother like learned Russian as a little girl. A lot of like my history I think went into Anand. So like playing him was I felt like I knew him really well, and then I had to think of, okay, why is he wearing what he's wearing? Why is he, why does he have the words that he has that the rest of the rats in Rat City don't? And so I decided, okay, Rats Field is in Springfield, Massachusetts, and it's a rat community that lives under a Punjabi convenience store. So that's why my rat is functionally Indian. Is all of his human influences are all, you know, Deshi folks living in the US, which is why he knows which is why they have the story of Rachuman, which is Hanuman from the Ramayana, but rat.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. And Barry, I think it's like we said, I think Barry, or I as a player knew Anand and Barry
Mhm.
more going into it. And I do remember like constantly having the thought process of like, Zoop, I can have a husband. I'm gonna make him sad. Like I'm so down to like have any character you want put into my backstory. I'm gonna try to make him sad.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Nikolai lost, has two important people in his life turn into vampires. So like really we both did it. We both did it to him.
Yeah.
My favorite thing though is that Anand calls Barry Baba, because Babaji means your paternal grandfather. So that's why he's called Baba.
Anand's cute, dude.
But yeah, I think for creating Barry, it was like I had a couple like core character tenets of like, oh, he has a granddaughter that he loves. Oh, he has a husband. Oh, these are some of his hobbies. And it's like I can't make more before I play it, because then I inevitably abandon it like 4 seconds into improv. So I
Mood.
can't. I for to an extent, for me, there's no point in making much more to a character because I don't find out who they are until I'm playing them.
Nice.
And then we have Barry, and then he happens.
Then we
I'll
have
give a
Barry
big
and
shout
you.
out to our dramaturge Rosie too, who helped like connect a lot of the threads with me on this stuff, because we were given like varying levels of character backstory and trying to like tie the through line of like what makes the most thematic sense of who dies when. Uh, a lot of that was her. A lot of the construction of Rat City mechanically is Rosie and I going back and forth in Discord calls, naming rats at each other.
And if you want to hear more about that process, you can find the interview that was published earlier today. I read it. It's good. You all should
Check out
read
the
it. It's good.
fundamentals, homies.
Yes. Nice. And
Grant,
also,
I mean,
chat, we're
I
now...
think
Okay. I was just
gonna
chat, we're in the
say-
back half, so if you want to ask
yeah.
any questions, ask them now, and I'll start mentally cataloging them. Go ahead, Sue.
I was gonna say, Grant, you and Rosie did an amazing job of like taking in all of the things, because I'm very much like Freddie in that most of my character happens on the fly. Usually Anand, there was more, but even Anand, like I was coming up with it like over time. Like I had the idea of it, but a lot of it was coming up over time. And so the two of you did a really good job of like finding that through line.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I have two more Sean questions. I'll start with the silly one because it's fun.
Yay.
The world in this time, wild. Y'all die when you're 3 years old. That, in terms of how long it takes to develop, you got like 8 days, and then you need to find your profession. If you had 3 years to live your life like the rats, what would you do with that time? How would you speed run getting everything done? Because it's a wild concept, and I have not stopped thinking about it since last Friday.
Keep in mind, you come to maturity at 6 months.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Grant, you start. You talked.
Oh, fuck. Took me 3 years to figure out my life, if not more.
I'm sorry, 3 years? You had your life figured out at 3?
No, I started at
3 years
32.
after yeah. 3 years after he decided to
There's
finally
a lot of
mature.
doing nothing, and then one does like, I gotta figure this shit out.
I've sent Grant a bunch of questions since like listening to this, and I do think half of them are the logistics of time about living as a rat.
Yeah, I mean, I'll expound on that a little bit while everyone cooks their like you only have 3 years to live thing. So like a big thing that Rosie really put in my brain was like, how long do rats live anyway? And like at max, like if you're really like a lucky rat, you're hitting 4, you know. So like in my brain, Barry's like in the like 4-year-old range, and I say things in this show that are like, oh, they're 2 and they're starting to show signs of aging already. If you hear me refer to months during the course of the show, I'm interchanging month for year basically. So it's like, oh, many years, like no, many months ago. A decade is like 2 generations worth of rats in a family, you know. So we really punch that, and I think it makes the whole idea of like immortality even scarier if you're a rat, because if you're living for like that long, like after a couple of months, there's gonna be rats like, hey, have you ever noticed that we all keep living and dying, but Pidge is like not?
Maybe it's a bat thing. Who could say?
Maybe it's a bad thing.
What are you talking about, John? She's a rat.
She's a rat.
Yeah, with a
Bus
what was
rat.
it? A guiding light in her soul that is different but grounding. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not the moon. That's that's Quakers. She was raised by a Quaker rat family. So, you know, definitely not the moon.
There's so much different religion like happening in Rat City a lot. not to like hog that spot. What would I do with 3 years to live, Sean?
Mhm.
I would probably
like,
take a lot.
specifically as your rat life. What would your
Yes.
rat life be in 3 years? Yeah.
I would probably just be like one of those rats that gambles and takes a lot of chances a lot. I'm definitely going for the cheese in the trap. I'm definitely like, I'm not like pussyfooting around or second guessing myself or bothering with imposter syndrome. I'm like, I'm a fucking rat. I'm gonna go do whatever I want, and whatever happens, happens. What? I lose a year? Darn.
Fair.
So, as I said, I'm not a fan of vampires. I'm also not a fan of elves. They live too long. It is not natural to live that long. I
Yes,
spend
correct.
a lot of time. I spend a lot
Hence
of
why
time.
it's a fantasy zoop.
No, but I really struggle with, because when I was 16, I couldn't imagine the way I think now.
Mhm.
Right? So the idea of being able to imagine how I'm going to think at 60 or 80, and then extending that way farther and be like, what does my brain look like at 200 years old? Like,
Mhm.
how does my thought process change? And then also how we experience time starts going faster and faster, right? Like when you're little, a week is forever, and like now weeks just go by like this. So what happens when you become like 200, 300 years old, and like do years just go by like days? How does that work? So that's all to say that I think I would live my 3 years of rat life pretty much in the same order as I do live my human life. It's just really truncated. I mean, the days will
Mhm.
seem really, really long, and I'll just be like sitting there studying or whatever, figuring out, putting things together, finding out what happens if you like, I don't know, science rat. Just science
Science
rat.
rat.
Speed running science. We love it. Who else? And if you don't have an answer, that's fine too. It's a weird question.
I feel like I would adopt a lot of pet cockroaches and rescue them. And I would have a pet cockroach farm where like they could like live out, like I would have like an old cockroach farm where they could like live out the rest of their days and like have a nice little like pasture to like roam free on.
You're the rat
Mhm.
version of a crazy cat lady.
Well, no, I feel like it's the
Oh, it's a rescue.
dog version.
Sure, sure.
I mean,
Okay.
cockroaches are pretty
Several dogs
big
is a
compared
rescue.
to
Several
rats.
cats is a concern.
Yeah, because like I'm also just envisioning them like my dog, like which I affectionately call crime triangle or crime bag, because like I'm envisioning like that being like the size difference. So like that would be a pretty fucking big cat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that
I
would
think
be
they
like
have
a
to be
hip-sized
ants.
cat.
That'd be like ants. Ooh, a rat that like oversees an
Ant.
ant colony.
It infected our brains, truly.
Mhm.
It is hard to hear any word with an A, an R, or a T in it and not like ratify it.
Yeah.
Ratify.
Oh, that
Anyway.
one's a word already.
Ratify it.
Mhm.
Oh, I've poisoned
I'm-
my own mind.
I think
I
the
did love Gina's visceral reaction to no.
I have
That
ant
part.
trauma, so I absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry. I'll think of a different. I'll think of a. Maybe those woolly ones.
How is that
No,
better?
it makes it worse. Makes it worse.
Yeah.
Actually,
Wait,
makes it
okay, wait,
significantly
What about
worse.
the little fuzzy bumblebees?
Bumblebees are fine. It's
Okay,
ants.
fine.
It's ants specifically. Other bugs, I'm fine with.
Okay.
A pet
can't-
bee gotta be
But
like a pet
apparently not
bird
the
to a-
woolly,
to a rat,
not
right?
the woolly,
Nope,
woolly
nope.
bugs.
Oh,
Not
woolly
woolly
bugs are
ants.
fine.
Yeah, woolly
Yeah,
bugs.
ants, no ants.
Roly polies, I think they're called.
Mm.
Pill bugs,
Conceptually,
some people
ants are
call them-
fascinating. Actually, ants are terrifying to me. No, thank you.
Okay.
did not like the Ant-Man movie one bit.
Were we gonna do an Ant-Man trailer like parody? Whatever happened to that?
Oh, we did talk about that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, only Zoop was at PAX, and then I forgot about it because, you know.
Mm.
I was living in a hotel at the time. All right, there was other pressing
That's fair.
matters.
That's fair. Last
Did
thing on your
either
mind is
Gina
I
or
gotta
Freddie
film that
have-
Ant-Man.
But okay, so for the uninformed, I had this idea. If anyone has ever seen it, there's an Ant-Man promo where it's Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas just doing like the little like horse gallop thing, and they're just ants.
Oh wait, I have seen
And I
this.
wanted to do that with rats, and I wanted to do that as a promo with like a bunch of the cast members, but only me and Zoop were at PAX, and I had completely forgot about it. And then I remembered once, but it was like 3 a.m. in my hotel room, and I was like, I can't message her at 3 a.m. in my hotel room.
Okay,
I
you
don't know
could
her
have.
well enough.
You
I
could
We
have.
know that now.
I could have, but the social anxiety did not allow me to, and now I regret it.
We'll do a sequel.
We'll do this.
Anyway,
Season 2, announced now.
Get
did
me out of my
either
own
of our
time loop,
others
Sean.
have the concept of rats, or should we move on to a mechanics question?
I think this makes me think of there's a running bit in one of like my home D&D games right now, where there's a civilization of like goblinettes that are kind of like happening in the background, and we established that their lifespan is like 3 months or something. It was something like absurdly short. But so it's like it's a Strixhaven game. Like we do some stuff, and then like we like see the goblinettes are doing something. Then like a week later, we go back and they've like gone through the Industrial Revolution, and it's like a running thing where it's like, yeah, their lifespan is so short, so societal evolution happens so fast, and they'll probably make space travel before we finish sophomore year. But I think that I would, if I was a rat with like 3 months to live, I would do two things. One, panic. I would just be like doing like heavy like fig tree type shit where I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, and if I don't do something now, I'll die. And then I would die.
Fair.
I feel
That's
like
very
Honestly,
very Barry though.
yeah.
That's very Barry coded.
Yeah, it's a very Barry coded answer.
every character I play is me with a hat on, so you know.
Freddie did pitch an alternate character that was,
That's true.
and I quote, very much so influenced by Jet from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we had to be like, not everyone in this party can be so charismatic.
My two character pitches were essentially, one was Jet from Avatar, and the other was Iroh from Avatar. And
we
so
had
we
to
went
pick
with,
Iroh.
yeah. I was like, what if there's an old man, but also this old man doesn't fuck around.
What about you, Gina?
Yeah.
Oh man, I
3
think
years to live. You're a rat.
3 years. I think this. So maybe I'm getting too into the weeds about it. Like, as if I were a rat with 3 years to live, I don't think that would be out of the norm for me, right? Like, if it's expected that I only have 3 years to live, I probably, in theory, wouldn't live my life any differently than I would if I didn't know that. But also, I think as a human who has, God willing, significantly longer than 3 years to live, I think I would want my rat self to travel. I think I would want to be able to see as many places as I could. I used to say with our dog, I want to put his paws on as many surfaces as possible. And that's the thing that I would want to have my little bat rat paws, hands, claws on, is as many surfaces as possible and see as many sights as possible.
A boat rat.
Yeah. Traveling with
that's
one
a
of those
fun
little
call
like
of a-
bags on a stick and just kind of
yeah.
travel the world.
Classic.
Yeah.
That's actually funny you
reason-
mentioned that, because one of my early ideas for Rat City before I locked into the whole New York thing was going to be like, you know, a very Nosferatu, the vampire bats are on the boat situation. I just didn't know how to make it like work.
Grant and several of the rest of you know that I love realistic stories. Like, I'm not a fantasy person. I'm not a like, let's do vampires. I'm like, let's all sit around a campfire and die because we are hungry. That's my world. And so as I was listening to this show, and I was like, does the stained glass rat have time to teach the next stained glass rat? Like, if a new saint arises, can they make more portraits? When like the clock ticker is gone, can the clocks reset? I was just sitting there like panicked about the reality of this. And yes, there
The
are way more
logistics
rats.
of everything.
Yes, I was overthinking the logistics because yes, there are
What is the
millions
agriculture
rats.
of Rat City?
Yes, that has been my thought process since the offhanded comment of, oh, I'm 2 and I'm starting to get a little old, but he's 3, and I went, what? And that is where my brain has been since Friday of last week, trying to logistically understand the speed at which a city of creatures that know 3 is not abnormal, but they know they don't have long. You can't spend more than half of your life training. So you got like a 1-week onboarding period, and that's all you get to do. And that's wild. And also,
but that's elves. Elves are looking at humans and being like, "That's wild." That they
see.
like,
I agree, Zoom.
have
I
a
am
whole
on
lifetime
team elves are bad. I'm not out here supporting any elves in any media. I am on team elves are bad.
Wow.
I think Freyrun's a
Sean's-
great series. I'm on
Sean's
season
rooting
2.
for
I'm
the
having a
orc
good
the Lord of the
time.
Rings.
Sean has never seen The Lord of the Rings. That is a well-known fact.
That is the most Sean thing I've ever fucking heard.
I've seen the first half of
Sean,
the
we're gonna
first
have to talk
movie,
about that.
said I'm fine with it, and stopped. And that's all.
I would fuck with that elf.
I will
Sorry,
say I'm
Gina.
ordinarily not a vampire.
I gotta
guy.
go. I got somewhere to be. Oh, did you look at the time? Man, it's getting
yes.
late.
I'm gonna be.
It
oh,
is.
I think I'm gonna be dying next week.
You're already dead, Gina.
Which the time does translate into our potentially last. Unless chat, you have some questions. This is a system that is notoriously known to be lore heavy, to be so clan focused, to be very much like this is VTM. Whether you know it, whether you've played it, whether you're just passing by, somebody who mentions like a Brujah, and you're like, I don't know what that is, but they're really excited that they're playing a Brujah. That's not the VTM story you all have done. I know you had Rosie as your dramaturge, and you're kind of like book on like hand of how do this. What was it like though as players to have this like changed up system that was like kind of from earlier's interview, like kind of like pre-gent characters, but like potentially, and then a different approach to it? And for some of you, I know you've never played in I know some of you have played a lot of it. What was it like to like play Rat City versus VTM?
I'll throw that at
I'll-
Gina. I think she's our
I'll-
resident VTM person.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I've played, I would say, a fair amount of VTM. How much of the rules do I actually know? Very little. I am a vibes and RP your way through it type of player, and if I need the mechanics, they're there for me. This was such a delightful experience for me as a player to have Grant, but also Rosie, who so deeply understands the mechanics of this game, the lore of this game, the history of the game, for me to be able to say, this is what I want to do.
Mhm.
How do I do that? What do I need to roll? How do I do my character sheet? Rosie, please help. And that was so helpful for me as a player that gets really kind of bogged down with the mechanics. I also say that as a person who I also freelance. I write mechanics for other systems, and I still don't really I still don't always know how they work. It was a really great experience for me to be able to have that freedom to like be in the character, to be focused on Pidge and the story and the lore and all of that stuff without necessarily while having someone who is so deeply entrenched in it to help me with that.
Nice. Then the next question, we have 5 more episodes, right? It's a 6-episode series total. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then Grant, this is a question for you. You've mentioned that you do not want to do Rat City by Night 2, but you would like the community to take Rat City as a concept and run with it. What would Rat City, the next chapter, look like in your ideal world?
Oh man, I really want to talk about the last episode now, but I can't.
You cannot.
I cannot. I will say that through the actions of these 4, among others, that there is a very clear thing that happens at the end of this series.
Mhm.
That if I was a storyteller, and I am, if I heard that, I would think to myself, this paves itself really well as an origin story for how vampirism is introduced to the world of rats. And as it clicked in my brain, I want to say around episode 4 or 5, that Rat City by Night, the one that we're doing here, is yes, a self-contained 6-part VTM story that could keep going. And then I started thinking about it like, so many VTM campaigns go for like a long time. And I'm usually very much so the kind of pain in the ass, punk ass GM who is like, you're all just doing it wrong. I'm fast. And then I played this game and I was like, I understand why this game goes for as long in campaigns as it does now. So now I feel like Rat City by Night, it's a really great prologue for what could be a lot of interconnected rat-based vampire stories. So if I were to put my producer who's not GMing this fucking system anymore hat on, I would think there's a lot you could do within the world of Rat City that exists under New York. I think Zoop in particular has dropped enough hints about Anand's hometown that you could do something with Rats Field or the surrounding area in Massachusetts. I think you could have you could vamp other animals if you wanted. I've heard a joke running around in certain discords about a cat city by night.
I have seen Cat City, yes.
Which for me personally makes me so mad, because have you not seen Fievel's An American Tale? There are no cats in America. It's the whole point of immigrating here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Please do vampire cats. I think that's funny. I think you could do other rat cities and other towns. I think you could really treat it the same way we treat By Night as a genre, but now we're just all fucking rats and stuff. So I don't know. I very openly encourage people, if you listen to this series and you love these characters and the lore and the structure of everything kind of resonates with you because you're an 80s and 90s kid and we had so many talking animal movies, that you have my full blessing to take it and run with it. You can make references to these four. I think that'd be sick as hell. There's a lot that is left open-ended when the story ends, and I don't want to say it's on purpose, but I do want to say I saw the writing on the wall and I am happy with that we did it that way. I only say I won't do a Rat City 2 because GMing Vampire the Masquerade made my brain hurt more than any other system I've run for anything we've done at GMM. But I would do it if Rosie pointed a knife and a gun at me, I guess.
Okay. Well, then we will wrap up. But the last question I want to ask each of you is spoiler hiding, whatever, what's the word? Veiled. Veil it if you need, if it's a plot element, but if it's just a connection, personal thing. What's all of your favorite thing about Rat City? Or what's like something you're hoping the world sees in the next 5 episodes that brought you joy?
I'll go first so you all can think about it, because my answer is easy. And it's going to sound really antithetical to what VTM is as a system and maybe to like your own player perceptions, but I really like how kind Rat City is. I think it's refreshing because this is normally a game in a World of Darkness setting that correctly, I'm not saying don't do this for you at home, but correctly encourages players to get into their darker, baser, violenter instincts. And I think because we all gave you the hook that this has never happened before, you don't understand what's happening to you, you're scared and you're hungry and you're trying to figure out how to live with and you all could have been worse, but you all still were who you were. And I think that really led to something special by the end of it. So that's what I love about Rat City, is that the through line is it's a kind series. It's a dark series, but it's kind.
I love the mechanics. Everyone else is not mechanically minded. I am mechanically minded, but I am not lore minded. So the whole reason like I wouldn't go near VTM is just the ridiculous amount of lore that you apparently need to know. I cannot do it, but getting to do the mechanics was a lot of fun. Rolling those dice was a lot of fun. Last time I rolled that many D10s was playing Exalted. And that is also a really lore heavy game. But in any case, but I actually really agree with Grant. I think Anand and I both love Rat City and the promise that it holds for taking care of all rats.
I think we mentioned earlier that kind of going into it, it's like Carm and Paige know each other, and Barry and Anand know each other, and they're kind of like two, like, not separate, but like less connected silos of characters. And I think that especially once Rat City gets to the point of like we've brought all the four of these characters together, they're now have this thing in common that they're trying to figure out. I think that dynamic between, like, I can't say any details. This is assumed, is like at some point you're gonna get all four characters in the pie shop, and I think that like being in that pie shop was one of my favorite parts of this series. That, and also I also am actually very mechanically motivated. Every once in a while I just read a rule book for fun, and it's embarrassing, but you know. And there was a point where I was like thinking through, I was like in optimizer mode of like, okay, if Barry does this, then he can do this thing, and then like blah 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 blah. And there was a point where Rosie like came in and was like, Barry doesn't know any of these rules, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna be so stupid now. And I think that was also one of my favorite things of just being like, right, these are tiny little creatures with at their best months to live. They're gonna start swinging hard and swinging fast, and it's gonna be great.
I think I just want to add on to what Grant said about how nice or how kind Rat City is. I think one of the things that I loved the most about it was in a story that is, I think, objectively just bleak of what happens to these characters, that there's also the opportunity as a player to really lean into, like, purity is not the right word, but like innocence and hope, and just all of the different ways in which our characters have been so helpful and kind to one another and gentle with one another. No, that's a spoiler. I'm not going to say that either.
It's
My
so
brain,
hard.
but yeah.
I can't.
We'll come back on this show after episode
all of
6.
that. I also selfishly, I really liked naming pies. I really liked having. I made a list in my brain of all the different types of pies that Pidge makes at the pie shop. That was really fun. Just being able to lean into some of the like the silly, stupid stuff about Rat City. I still do it. I still name things. I still ratify things all the time. That's gonna stay with me. One of my favorites.
Not to cut Jenna off, but there is a moment in episode 1 where like Jenna names a dessert and we say the rat version of it like immediately, and then you just hear
Aperitivo.
A rat's-a-rativo. Thank you.
A aperitivo, yeah.
Yeah. And you just hear me go, this is the whole series, folks. This is what it's going to be like.
I think the most common sentence structure in the entire show is like word, or should I say rat version of word.
Truly.
I was, to Jenna's point, very surprised a aperitif did not show up in the first episode. I thought you'd have some wine glasses at your little spot, and they weren't there.
Well, Rapperativo is Raperatif. It's just Rapperativo is the Italian version of it.
No,
it's just
ad
the
break,
Italian
go
version of the
away.
word. But anyway.
Yeah, I was just ready for a winery to show up, and there was never a winery, and that's on me.
Well,
for
there's
having
wine at the
wine
jazz club.
expectations. Yeah. What did you like, Jenna? Tell us your words.
first and foremost, let me get real fucking corny. I loved sharing a table with these people. I think everyone here brought their absolute A game with building the characters and the rats that they built. I think everyone put so much thought and care into their characters' journeys from where we see them in episode 1 to where we leave them at the end of the series. And I'm so excited to see the reception of how the journey goes without saying too much. But it's a very different place from episode 1 to the end. And it's a different journey for each character. But the intermingling is such a fun aspect, and getting to riff with each and every one of these people has been such a truly special experience. And like getting to do it in such a, what one would assume to be such a silly experience, because like, let's be real, we're playing rat vampires. That is fucking absurd. But we bring such a poignance to it where it like genuinely is a dark kind of story, and like there were tears shed during this, like a few different recordings, and
Gina's in the first one.
I gotta stick to my brand, you guys. That's what I do.
But I'm just saying, there's more tears shed throughout the entire series, and I think it's a really special thing what we did here, and it's gonna hold a special little place in my rat heart forever.
I want to add just one thing, because we haven't mentioned it yet, but also one of my favorite things about Rat City, just in general, like the production, is the art that we got
Oh my
for our
God, yeah.
beautiful rats. By an artist named Senzi, who is like phenomenally talented. Does not describe how ridiculously skilled she is. So if anyone is looking for character art, you should go find Senzi. We've linked her on like everything.
Great to work
She's also
with,
done
too.
numerous character art, numerous things for me, for other shows as well. She's exceptional.
Delight to work with. I have it on good authority that a certain cast member here has sent the art to Emily Axford over at Not Another D&D Pod.
Not yet, but I'm going to. I need at least 2 episodes to be out, and I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay, I'll work faster.
Get back to it, Grant.
Okay.
Speaking
yeah,
of episodes being out, you all are out on Mondays, every Monday, at some time in the morning before Sean wakes up.
It's
Go
midnight
find it.
Pacific.
Cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. So go find the Game Master Monday podcast, and on Mondays, listen to the Rats of Rat City by Night. Go ahead and tell us all who you all are and any last thoughts you have. We'll go around this. We'll go around the circle. So Freddie, we'll start with you and we'll work our way back to Grant.
Sure. I'm Freddie Powers, Freddie Pow Pow on every social media. Live life like a rat.
Gina.
Oh boy, I'm Gina Susanna. You've probably heard me crying on the internet at some point, various places on the internet. I love Rat City, and is it pie time?
I think it's pie time.
I am Jenna Daggers, which is where you can find me across all different corners of the internet. And when life gets tougher, you get tougher back. Or something.
Hi, I'm Zoop. You can find me as Zoop Machine. My mom calls me Supriya. I love bringing that stuff into all my characters, and yeah, let's play a game together.
And Grant.
I guess that's me. Hi, I'm Grant. You can follow me everywhere where it matters on just type in Game Master Monday. If we're there, we are there. And I'll be sappy for a second. Fuck it. Thank you all for making Rat City with me. It's crazy to think that we've even done 7 miniseries that people have cared enough to stick around long enough for us to land on this idea, and to get to do it with 6 of my very favorite people, players, performers is unreal to me, especially that we got to do this during a point where it feels like all of us were going through some shit. To be able to sit down and play make believe rats for a little bit was a huge relief from the everything else. And thank you all for listening to it. I've seen the numbers for Rat City 1. They are humbling, I will say that much. So, yeah, thanks for letting us come on and hype the show up, Sean, and talk about rats and all that. Go be a rat. After this thing ends, go crawl on your floor on all fours for a little bit and look for cheese, just sniff around.
Yeah, you heard Grant. Go do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we end it with our song?
The song?
What's our...
Rat.
Rat City, bitch.
Rat City, bitch.
Rat
City, bitch.
The amount of Rat City parody anything I have seen varies from person to person, and it says a lot about who you are that shows which city song you parody to be rats. Because I've gotten Rack City a lot from these two chuckleheads. I've gotten Good Kid Rat City from
good.
Kendrick. Detroit good. Rat City is one I've been getting from my dad a lot, especially. Post your favorite city song and add a rat to it.
Yeah. Tell us all your rats. Go tag Game Master Monday at every social and tell them your favorite rat songs.
Show me rats.
Nice. Cool.
Just like Gina's Instagram feed. Show me rats.
The channel
It's all
here will be
rats and
going
pigeons.
dark.
It's just the Family Feud thing. Show me rats.
Show them all rats. They will appreciate it, I'm sure. Okay. Well, the channel here will be going dark until June when we come back with Our Place. So if you want to be sad, go listen to that. And then if you want to be even more sad, come back in June. Go find God Killer. It's out. And we'll see y'all in the next time. Thank you so much to this cast, and we'll see y'all then. Bye.